By 2011, a dog named Chaser knew 1,022 words. Not commands, words. Each one paired to a specific toy. Her owner, a retired psychology professor named John Pilley, had spent 7 years naming her toys one at a time. He kept track in a spiral notebook, but the moment that genuinely shocked the research community wasn't the vocabulary count. Pilley laid out 7 toys Chaser had played with before. He added one she'd never seen. He told her to fetch it, using a name he had never used in front of her. Every time, first try, she walked over to the only unfamiliar one. We're going to come back to that moment, but first, what was actually happening inside Chaser's head when she heard a word? Because the science says it's not what either side of the internet wants you to believe. If you Google what your dog hears when you talk, you land in one of 2 camps, both wrong. The first camp says dogs only respond to tone, that you could call your dog stupid in a happy voice and they'd wag their tail. Cute take. The brain scans say no. The second camp says dogs basically understand English, that Bunny the TikTok dog asks for water is proof of canine language. Viral take. The brain scans say no to that too. The actual neuroscience, done by people running fMRI scanners on awake, unrestrained dogs, sits in between these 2 stories, and it's stranger than either. Let me show you what your dog actually does the moment you open your mouth. When you say a single word to your dog, 3 things happen at the same time. First, your voice goes to a dedicated part of their brain. In 2014, Attila Andix and his team at Eötvös Loránd University in Budapest ran fMRI scans on dogs while they listened to human voices and to non-vocal sounds. The dogs had voice-sensitive regions in roughly the same anatomical place as ours. Same regions. 2 species that branched apart roughly 80 million years ago. That's older than dogs being dogs. Second, your word and your tone are processed in 2 completely different hemispheres. The left side handles which word you said. The right side handles how you said it. 2 parallel channels on the same sentence at the same time. And the third layer is the one almost no owner knows about. It only fires when the first 2 agree with each other. Stay with me on that one, because that's the whole video. Let's start where the field started. In 2004, a team led by Juliana Kaminski at the Max Planck Institute brought a 9-year-old Border Collie named Rico into a lab. They wanted to know if a dog could learn words the way human toddlers do. Not by being trained over months on a single command, but by what cognitive scientists call fast mapping, picking up a new word in a single try by inference. They put familiar toys in another room and called Rico in, asked him to fetch them by name. He got 37 out of 40 right. Then they introduced a new toy, a name Rico had never heard, dropped in among the familiar ones. Rico picked the new toy, by exclusion. Same logic a 2-year-old uses learning their first nouns. 4 weeks later, no reinforcement in between, he still remembered. That study sparked the follow-up that opened this video. John Pilley, the retired professor we met at the start, working from his home in South Carolina, decided to push it further. Could one dog be taught not dozens of words, not hundreds, 1,000? 3 years of intensive daily sessions. 1 name, 1 toy. The spiral notebook tracking every new word. By the end, Chaser knew 1,022 individual proper nouns. She could distinguish names from commands, names of single objects from names of categories. And the exclusion test from Rico's lab, she did it again and again, on camera, in peer-reviewed papers, for years. She wasn't memorizing the new word in those moments. She was reasoning her way to it. Now we get to the part that genuinely stopped me when I first read it. Most of us, including me before this study, assumed that when a dog learns a word like walk, they store it as one chunk, sound plus meaning, all in one place. In 2016, Attila Andix and his team at Eötvös Loránd, the same lab from earlier, published a paper in Science that proved that's not what happens at all. They trained 13 dogs to lie awake inside an fMRI scanner. Then they played the dogs recordings of their own trainer saying praise words like good boy, or completely neutral words like however, in either an enthusiastic tone or a flat one. 2 channels lit up at the same time, in 2 different places. The left hemisphere, the same region we humans use to process word meaning, was tracking which word was being said. The right hemisphere was tracking the tone. And here's where it gets weird. The reward circuit, the part of the brain that lights up when something feels good, only activated when the word and the tone matched. Saying "good boy" in a flat voice didn't trigger the reward. The brain registered a contradiction. Saying "however" enthusiastically, same thing. Nothing. Praise needs both word and music. They don't average. They have to agree. 6 months earlier, a team led by Natalia Albuquerque at the University of Lincoln had pushed a complementary question. Not about words, about emotion. Do dogs understand that a smile and a laugh go together, across species, even when one is a face and the other is a sound? They showed 17 dogs photos of human faces, happy or angry, paired with audio recordings of human voices in matching or mismatched emotional tones. The dogs looked significantly longer at the face when the emotion of the face and the emotion of the voice agreed. Untrained for the task, they just knew. Just sit with that for a second. Until that paper, this kind of cross-species emotional integration had only ever been documented in humans. Now, I want to be honest with you, because two things complicate everything I just said. First, Chaser was the outlier. The biggest dog cognition project running today is at UC San Diego's Comparative Cognition Lab, led by Federico Rosano. They have data from 152 dogs using soundboards over 21 months. The median number of buttons a dog uses is 9, not 100, 9. Chaser was a Mozart. Most dogs aren't. And second, go back to the Andix finding for a second. The reward only fires when word and tone match, which means the folk wisdom you've heard your whole life, that you can say anything to a dog as long as your tone is friendly, is wrong. Their brain notices the mismatch. They feel the contradiction. So if you've ever felt silly talking to your dog like a person, you're not. They're not understanding your words the way another human does, but they're decoding more layers than most owners realize. The word channel, the tone channel, the emotion behind both, every time you speak. So back to that lab in 2011. Pilly laying out 7 familiar toys plus 1 new one, naming a word Chaser had never heard, watching her walk to the only unfamiliar object. What we know now is that Chaser wasn't memorizing in that moment. She was reasoning by exclusion. The word she didn't know had to mean the object she didn't know. That's not memorization, that's logic in a dog. And honestly, the part of this that gets me, Pilly spent his retirement teaching one Border Collie. By the end, she had taught us something about ourselves. So, tell me, what's a word your dog responds to that genuinely surprised you? I read every comment.